Hi, everyone. My name is Kathy Laurini, and I am a long-time human space exploration advocate. I worked for 40 years, almost 40 years for NASA, and the last 10 years of my time at NASA were planning the future of human exploration. And I led NASA's engagement in a group called the International Space Exploration Coordination Group, or ISEG, and led the development of their global exploration roadmap. So I know firsthand how much excitement there is around the world for space exploration. I'm really glad to be here today, and let me take this opportunity to congratulate all the finalists for the Mars City Design Contest in 2020. What you guys have done to get here is an amazing achievement, and the ideas that you bring to the future architects for establishing human settlements on Mars is really important. Since leaving NASA about a year and a half ago, I have joined Dynetics. Dynetics is one of the companies that is building a human lunar landing system for NASA. We're competing against SpaceX and Blue Origin, so we're kind of like the non-billionaire funded underdog, but we're really excited to be part of this exciting effort to take people back to the moon to enable a sustainable human exploration endeavor. So this, for us, the moon is a step on the way to Mars, and our lander design is unique in that it is one that was designed with not only carrying crew, but also carrying cargo easily in mind. When I did all the work with NASA on space exploration planning, I became convinced that the moon was a necessary step on the way to Mars. And that's for a couple of reasons. You know, it's a great place to learn how to live and work beyond low Earth orbit. We've been in low Earth orbit for a long time, and we understand how to get to space and how to live in microgravity. But we enjoy a lot of protections of being very close to Earth. But as we go beyond Earth to the moon, we're further away. The challenges are extreme. It's just change the way that we operate in space. So we'll learn all those different things about beyond low Earth orbit. We'll learn the importance of mass. You guys have figured that out in designing your cities. You know, mass, there isn't a nice supply chain that goes between Earth and beyond low Earth orbit destinations. And so we always have to design with mass in mind. Things that are too heavy aren't going to be applicable in these missions. So learn how to design the capabilities, reliable capabilities at lower mass, and then get on the surface and learn how to live on a planetary body. So all the testing out technologies, testing out capabilities, you know, I'm a firm believer that the pressurized crew rover that we put on the moon better be the Block 1 version of the pressurized rover that we take to Mars. So what that means is we're spreading out the investment of what it takes to successfully enable those Mars missions. So we'll be able to rely on a lot of the lunar investments. Another thing that we'll do on the moon is to build up a habitation capability. So learning how to live in a fractional gravity environment, perhaps even learning how to grow food and live off the resources that are there locally. We'll do things like learning how to process the water ice and the oxygen in the regolith on the moon. All these activities on the moon are really directly applicable to what we want to do on Mars. And in that sense, it means that going to the moon is a really, you know, important first step on the way to Mars. The last reason why I think the moon is super important on the way to Mars is the international coalition it will take to go to Mars. You know, I became convinced with working with all the international space agencies around the world that there's great excitement about human space exploration and getting people to Mars, and everybody wants to play a role. And the opportunity for emerging nations to carve out roles for themselves and test out technologies and capabilities on the moon means that they can play significant roles on the missions to Mars, and that's going to be super important. So for all those reasons, at Dynetics, we're super excited about building a human landing system. And what I want to do is show you a little bit about what our lander looks like and what our vision is. So in this picture here, you can see on the left our human landing system in the crew module configuration. So you see the sort of archway and the solar arrays, the arched sort of truss with propellant tanks on either end and the engines sticking down below and the solar array sticking up and the crew module in the middle. With our design, we can, and that low slung crew module, it's pretty easy for the crew to fly. You know, when they're descending, they've got a direct view of the lunar surface so they can avoid any hazardous terrain. They can easily egress from the system down to the surface of the moon. They don't have to take a big ladder, or they don't have to take a an elevator down to the surface. They just open the door and go down a couple meter long ladder to the surface of the moon. And so that means that they have more time on the surface to do really productive stuff. And then we have the ability to remove the crew module and fly other payloads to the surface. So you see next off to the right, you see one of our landers in a cargo configuration delivering a pressurized rover. And that pressurized rover is not a very large one. It was probably launched with the lander from Earth. But because our lander is refuelable and it is reusable, so we will be filling those tanks that you see there in lunar orbit before we go down to the surface of the moon. So, you know, once we establish that capability, we can reuse this system as many as 5 times. That's our design requirement now. But that means in a reusable lander situation, a very large rover can be delivered to cislunar space on another rocket, and we can pick it up. And all it has to do is fit under the arch, and then we can set it down on the surface. And we've got concepts for expanding the arch to be able to handle larger payloads. So it's just a different structure. The rest of the design of the equipment can stay the same. So, and then if you look off to the right, you can see what is sort of our representation of what a lunar base might look like. You know, who knows what those modules are going to look like, but that's a vision. And you can see off to the right, one of our landers with the solar arrays retracted has dropped off a module that can be connected as a building block to the foundational surface habitat or the surface habitat. You know, and our lander could even stay on the moon and provide some supporting services. You know, we've got communications antennas and solar arrays. So if needed, the lander could stay attached to a module. In fact, we've been working with some potential customers who might think about building, you know, specialized modules for food production. How could those be delivered with our lander? And I think that's a great example of a large payload that we can test out on the moon that would really help perfect those techniques for a Mars city. So anyway, I hope this has given you a good idea of how the Dynetics lander can help enable using the moon to prepare for Mars. Everybody on our team, you know, we're super motivated to get people back to the moon, especially the first woman, but it's all really about a step to Mars, because Mars is a very exciting destination, and there's a lot that will be gained by sending there. So anyway, keep up all the good work, and we look forward to seeing how your efforts mature over time. So thanks for letting me share some time with you. Bye-bye.